My name is Uysal. I'm 61 years of age. 1970 we came and I was 7 years of age. From a place called Pergama, northern Cyprus, nice little village.
Nice, yeah.
Initially we settled in Footscray for a couple of weeks and in between moved to Sunshine where we spent quite a few years after that. As a 7-year-old or 6.5, 7-year-old, it was much more of a village atmosphere back then, a little bit different to what we're used to here in Australia, but it was a nice childhood. Small village, everyone knew everyone, families knew each other, cousins, so on. So it was there was a lot of division between the Greeks and the Turks at the time, a lot of upheaval, which had been going since the 1960s and into the 70s. And it got to a stage where it was becoming quite uncomfortable, I suspect, for my father, and hence we migrated to Australia. I think because we had cousins that had already settled here, and that was the reason they chose Australia. I recall leaving at 4 a.m. in the morning, being ushered out, more or less, and ship was the transport to Australia. We caught a plane to the UK, from the UK, Southampton dock, onto a ship called the Eleanors. And yeah, it was a 4-week trip, going through ports of Spain, Cape Town that I recall. And great times because you'd look out the porthole and you'd arrive at a different country, and I thought, wow, this is great. So I remember my dad, they had bunks on the ship and all 4 of us were in one small cabin, and we all went on our bunks and my dad went to go on his bunk, but it folded closed while he was on there and he got stuck in the bunk and we're all laughing our heads off, but he didn't appreciate it. So that's a fond memory as well of departing to come to Australia. And the smorgasbord, the food, the cakes, that just really stands out, especially at an age of 7 when you sort of think, wow, what's this all about? What I miss most is the closeness and the family, the cultural aspects where you're in everyone's house, like extended family pretty much, I'd say, would be the main thing, where all your cousins and relatives are sort of at your fingertips and you can go from one to the other and stuff. So more the network type of thing, I suppose, having a bigger, wider group of family and friends to what we're used to here. Growing up in Australia in the 1970s as a migrant was quite tricky in terms of there's a lot of racism, a lot of bullying at school, and having to learn a new language at the age of 7 in a school system that you're not used to was very, very difficult. And also having both parents off to work from 7 a.m. in the morning till probably you don't see them till 7 p.m. at night with the buses and trains. So you were quickly forced to fend for ourselves, my sister being 4 years older than me. She had pretty much cooked and cleaned and I helped out as much as I could and did what we did. But it was quite a struggle, I believe, in the first couple of years. But more difficult for my parents, who were both non-English speaking as well, but having to train and bus to the city for work in my mum's case, and my dad ended up doing, I think, 2 jobs, going from one to the other on his push bike. I recall that. That was some of the struggles that we faced, but short-term pain, long-term gain, I think. We're happy now. When we used to go on lots of picnics growing up in Australia, learning the language, and every weekend was a time we had as a family, and we'd go to picnics. And one particular occasion, we went to the park in the city with the train. We had the picnic baskets sitting on the lawn, spread out the blanket. It was fantastic. Had our picnic, and then we wandered through the store. We're looking around going, gee, this is a beautiful building here. Then a security guard ushered us all out because we were in Government House and the gate was left unattended. And the security guard thought, what are these guys up to? And so that was another classic moment. Studied here, went to school here, went to high school, and straight into the workforce, where my first job was a telecom back then, which is Telstra today. And then from that point on, I ended up starting my own business in real estate back in the late 1980s, and have been doing that ever since, and loving it. Advice for future generations, I'd say, is make the most of what we're being offered here in Australia, and just appreciate everything that's there. In some ways, it's always good to have the old village atmosphere, small village attitude happening, but it's also good to experience the positivity that's out there in the land of opportunities in Australia.